All right, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to speak to you today on mentorship. Now, the reason I named this talk, How Not to Be Mentored in case we don't know what it says, is because every time you tell somebody how to do things, we do the opposite. So this is how not to do it. Cool? All right. So, wait, work with me here. Okay, cool, straight. All right. I'm here because I like to help the community. That's my basis. I normally get volunteered for stuff that I don't like to do, and I do it anyway. Cool? All right. This is the definition of mentorship for most people along the way, whether you are junior, mid, senior, whatever. This is how it feels for a lot of us because we don't have the tools to do it correctly or give it structure. And for anybody who joins a new code base without documentation, it's the same feeling. So we either do it one out of two ways, the left, or if not done properly, it's the right. Now, for some of us, we go, cool, let's self-mentor, let's help ourselves. It doesn't really work out too well because you can't fix what you don't know. Make sense? Cool. This is the perfect demonstration of mentorship. It's the easiest way to describe it. One hand help another on a subject matter that somebody has no clue on. That's it. Audience question. Can I see a raise of hands based on who I can see who've been in a really good mentorship relationship? Okay. All right. A really bad one. Who's been a really good mentor? Who's been a really bad mentor? Let's see this one. Okay, cool. At least we're honest. So I've been both mentors been a mentor and a mentee, and this is where this talk came from because mistakes were made. So the trick is, let's start with the basics or the basis of the relationship. How does a mentee do the relationship better? Or how do you tool yourself to ensure that the mentor-mentee relationship works according to what you want to get from it? So, my mom and my dad have a policy they call start with the end in mind. You are going to figure out the basics. So in this case, I can start with the biggest issues with developers. How do we ask for help? Between mentee and mentor, you discuss how this is done. So it's a case of figuring out where you are, figuring out what doesn't work, writing down everything that doesn't work properly, having documentation for it. It's identifying what competence look like. So how do you know you've mastered a skill or a trait or learned something properly? It's figuring out who has what responsibility. Now, some people don't really get this, so it's simple as this. What does each party, what are they responsible for? What should you be doing as the mentee? And my famous and favorite one is, what are the end goals? So what should you get out of the relationship? Because it can't run infinite. So it has to run for a specific time. And how often do you meet? You meeting with your mentor at a specific time, at a specific date, or place, whether online or in person, gives you the ability to be accountable. Cool? All right. While you're doing stuff, specifically for the web, this is Homer. I troll him everywhere I go. I keep talking about what he does all the time. Because we build for the web and it's a secondary consideration for some of us based on how we're taught or how business view it, we need to keep building stuff accessible to everybody on the internet. My first push for accessibility was that I met somebody in the Netherlands who is a back-end engineer. He's completely blind. So we had a conversation about everything. You don't want to hear somebody keep cussing about how we build stuff. So we need to build it accessible. So after the conversations, that the first part of the mentorship relationship, your job is to follow through. It's repetition. It's the hours you put in. It's documenting the things you built. It's on your behalf, as the mentee, as the junior in the relationship, it shows that you are committed to executing based upon it. A lot of times, mentorship relationships for mentees it doesn't have a cost associated with it. So your cost to pay it forward is to make sure that you show commitment by doing the work. Last but not least, we build stuff accessible. Everybody should be able to use it who uses the internet. Again, we build stuff accessible. All right, mentees. Now, before I go any further, mentees, you don't have to know the most to be a mentor. You don't. You have to know enough to help the person. And I, being not as senior as I'd like to be, can mentor people with tech skills that I know. I'm no longer afraid because I have the worst set of friends who will throw me off the deep end of a pool. They will help me to learn stuff. So, your job is to provide hope. That's it. Hope comes in the form of telling the person that, hey, you are capable of doing this, irrespective of how you feel. You're capable of doing this, irrespective of what you look like, or quote unquote representation of yourself in the spaces. You can do it. That's it. Because tech has the ability to make you feel like you're inadequate, no matter what level you are. This is ideal mentorship. For anybody who's ever studied IRO, there are psychiatrists and psychologists who will point to him being a perfect happy medium everywhere. There's even a podcast about him. I realized that last week. So, you need to take time as the mentor to understand who you're mentoring. Not the way you are taught, but the way how do they learn. At all times, that's what it boils down to. Because at the end of the day, a mentorship relationship will teach you more about you and how you learn and the content you know than anything else. So your job is to provide tooling. Tooling, whether mental, whether physical, whether it be emotional tooling, because we don't write code and create content in abstract, we create it within a spectrum. So you have to give people the ability to just grow. So we're talking about guidance and support. We're talking about knowledge, whether firsthand, vicarious, giving them experiences. My first tech conference was one of my friends who's been a little bit ahead of me, who's spoken here, going, I'm not going to be able to make it. Here's a ticket, go. Last but not least, my father was one of the persons who saw this thing and spoke to me about the thing about a prophet. One of your job to do as a mentor is to say, hey, after I've taught you all of this, I need you to show me, or I've shown you all of this, I need you to show me that you've understood this at the level that I'm asking you, which is competence. Now, can you, the mentee, go, hey, I learned this, I can teach it to somebody. So that's your prophet. Last but not least, these are additional recommendations. I didn't do web links. I didn't do QR codes. I just copied the title so it's easy for anybody to search. There are additional resources on the topic. We need better mentee-mentor relationships in tech because long-term it's profitable for everybody. It helps every one of us to grow, whether you're the mentee or the mentor. And whether we like it or not, we need a community. Thank you.